Well, the remarkable life story of a Rochester native and former getaway driver for the Mafia could become a streaming series. 25 years after the release of her memoir, Georgia Durante is back in town to share her story. She sat down with Jackie Napier for an exclusive television interview.
This guy takes out a gun and shoots the guy that's 5 feet away from me. And he falls to the ground. Everybody scatters. And
Georgia Durante's life moves at a breakneck pace, just like the car she commanded as the getaway driver for the Mafia. One night, mobsters instructed her to drive a man who had just been shot to Bellevue Hospital in New York City. Impressed with the young model's driving skills, she was soon brought into their inner circle.
They heard how I drove the car. I'm appearing on covers of magazines. Who's going to suspect me? I was the perfect person for them to use.
Afraid to disobey orders, the former Kodak girl was oblivious to the fact she was transporting millions of dollars.
And I would always deliver to these two guys in suits at JFK Airport. And I later found out they were actually the CIA, who was laundering the money for the mob in foreign countries, right? Yes, I was getting in pretty deep.
Perhaps no drive was more harrowing than the escape she made with her 7-year-old daughter. Georgia, fleeing her abusive husband, whose Mafia ties spanned from coast to coast, had only $7 to her name.
He hung me out of a 2-story building by my ankles. And he was Prince Charming the whole time we were dating, but as soon as we got married, he became the Prince of Darkness. I became a prisoner.
They escaped, but she knew her days in front of the camera were over. She needed to go undercover. That's when she put her driving skills to work again, this time as a Hollywood stunt driver.
I'm watching a lot of TV, and every time there's a commercial, it's a car commercial. Then I realized you can never see the driver. I said, that's perfect. I can do that, right?
These days, Georgia is helping other abuse survivors. During a speech at a women's prison, Georgia asked the inmates who had been a victim of sexual or physical abuse. Every woman raised their hand.
I remember how I felt when I was raped. You don't feel good enough, and you start hanging around with people that you think are your equal.
Georgia's book, The Company She Keeps, is one part of her mission to aid other people. Based on the feedback from readers, it seems she has done just that.
And she read it, and she sent me an email and said, I was going to kill myself this weekend. She said, I read your book, she said, and if you can do it, I can do it.
It was an honor to meet Georgia, and I want to extend my deepest gratitude to Gary Craig from the Democrat and Chronicle, who kindly connected us with Georgia. You can find a link to his interview with her as well on 13wham.com, along with details of her upcoming book signing here in town.